you also have to deal with the cyber crime part of the banking scams that are happening, right?
Do not share your personal details.
Since prenups, if I am right, it's not allowed in India.
Will and succession planning is equally a part of a financial planning of any.
Sometimes I feel कि वो बच्चे पे इतना planning कर देते हैं कि खुद का retirement. Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of the Invest My Paisa podcast. आज हमारे साथ है खुशी पोद्दार, who has almost a decade's experience in law. She graduated from NUJS in 2014. उसके बाद उसने थोड़े दिन अमरचंद मंगलदास में काम किया and thereafter she moved on to practicing banking law. She was associated with 2 different private leading banks and now she has been working with one of them for the last 6 years. And not only that, she is a trained Bharatanatyam dancer and a mother to a very cute 2-year-old. So welcome, Khushi.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you for having me in your podcast.
So let's begin with understanding that how did you choose law as a career path?
That's a rather interesting story, actually. So, like I was just one day sitting with my grandfather, and this is when I was in class 8 or 9.
Okay.
And he's like, "Beta, family में CA भी है, डॉक्टर भी है, और बिजनेसमैन भी है. एक लॉयर नहीं है ना हम लोग के फैमिली में, और तुमको तो आर्ग्यूमेंट करना बहुत पसंद है, तो तुम why don't you consider law?"
Yeah.
And that day actually put a serious thought to it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm quite argumentative, and I try to explain people with logic, so why not explore that? So luckily that's what panned out for me, and there's nothing else I can do, looking back now.
Yeah.
But yes, that's how law happened, in a very raw manner. That's how law happened for me.
Nice. So for the knowledge of our viewers, so you have to give a competitive exam called CLAT.
Correct.
For the same. So how does one prepare for that?
Okay, so once you pass out of class 12, you're supposed to give an examination called CLAT, Common Law Entrance Test, and depending on your score, you get any national university. Apart from national universities, you also have an option to apply for private colleges, like Symbiosis has their own exam, OP Jindal has their own exam, so you can also opt to give those exams if you want to go to one of the private law colleges. But once you have completed your law, I think that's where your avenues open, because law is a very upcoming field, Nidhi. So once you become a lawyer, there are many things you can do. So either you can decide to go to court. Court में जो lawyers होते हैं तारीख पे तारीख. So that is actually litigation. You can either decide to be a corporate lawyer, or you can get into arbitration, or you can choose academics. So there are many things. Or you can actually choose to be a counsel in an in-house role. You can be a lawyer for any company, because nowadays all these big companies want their in-house legal team to be doing their drafting, to be looking into their documents. So there are many things that you can do once you complete your legal studies.
Yeah, because I had this impression as a kid that law is a legacy profession. If your family is into it, only then the next generation comes into it. So what is your opinion on that?
See, I cannot completely negate it. And why I say it is कि हम लोग बॉलीवुड में तो इतना nepotism की बातें करते हैं. But if you choose to get into litigation, then people who have had families or generation of lawyers who are into litigation, have had their own independent practice and a law firm, it's easier for them, because you get that client reference. But that said, if you're good at what you're doing, and if you're with the right people at the right time, that's crucial. And if you're good at your art, you can excel anywhere. Also, if you're getting into a law firm, or if you are in a good law college and you get a good placement directly from college, then you get an upper hand, because you start at a level. So when you are taking jobs, when you're taking regular corporate jobs at an in-house role, or in a law firm, or you decide to get into arbitration, it's much easier. Wahan pe there's nothing like nepotism, and there's nothing like you have to be a generation of lawyers. But of course, in litigation, if you have a family of lawyers, it's helpful, definitely.
Okay. So what made you choose banking law?
Banking law, I'll tell you, Nidhi. So when I was in my law firm, so we were doing general corporate. So we used to advise on all kind of corporate matters. And I happened to engage with, few leading banks when we were doing the banking transactions. And I just felt that, this is where the money is, this is where the cream is, and you get to decide on the terms and conditions which people are negotiating, and you are involved in big matters, financial matters where you're expanding businesses. So that's how I actually thought that, nowadays, if you would also agree with me that it's a time of specialization.
Yeah.
So if you take on a field and if you have practice in it for a couple of years, I think you can become a master of that trade. So that's when I decided to get into a bank and try my hands there. But once I went into the bank, I knew that this is where I want to be. So this is what I want to do. And in banks also, with the fintech and with so many technologies merging with the banks are also expanding. The legal field just in banking is also expanding. So there's everything you need in a legal profession to learn every day. You're learning and you're reading and you're constantly updated. So it's an evolving profession. It's good. It's interesting.
So just for my understanding, so what do you have to do as a banking law specialist?
Okay, so if you're a banking lawyer, you are doing a varied number of things.
Yeah.
So it can start from giving a home loan, or it can go on to giving a loan to a big corporate for project financing or for construction financing or for any of their business purposes loans. So these big companies will not generally adopt standard formats of loan documents of the bank. So you sit and negotiate out on the clauses.
Okay.
That is the corporate documentation part of it. The other part of it is that if you're giving loans, there'll always be bad loans also. There'll always be, non-performing assets. So you also as lawyers have to take action against those companies, which will be action before NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, or before DRT, or before the relevant courts, or you can do Section 138 actions. Then the next leg of being a banking lawyer is that, we as lawyers, we'll get cases like, मैं ATM में पैसे निकालने गया था and पैसे निकल गए, but मेरे निकलने के बाद निकले, या मैंने, डेबिट कार्ड खो दिया है, तो मेरे डेबिट कार्ड, मेरा details have been compromised. So much fraud has been done on my account. So you get consumer litigations day in, day out. Being a banking lawyer, that's also something that we deal with. And the new thing that we are also, seeing is that with the advent of fintech, now there is, so many, UPI integrations and, so many new technologies which are being integrated with the banking sector. So this is an evolving field. For example, पहले, if you would have noticed, पहले हमारे phone में messages आते थे from these, small companies कि आप ये loan ले लीजिए, we are giving loans without checking your KYC document, but those used to be at an exorbitant interest rate. So then RBI came up with a circular that these companies cannot do lending directly and they have to tie up with banks. So, which is where, we come into picture and we make those documents, we standardize the processes and take it forward.
Wow. So have you ever encountered a company defaulting during your practice?
Of course. I mean, that is the bread and butter. So yes, I mean, it's a battle. I mean, it's, all said and done, it's always easier to recover from an individual borrower than a big company, because a big company will have enough money to hire the best lawyers and to stall the cases and to get those dates. So, of course, but we have our ways,
but they don't have money to pay back.
Yes, you're right. So that's where financial planning comes in. That's where you come in,
So do you also have to deal with the cyber crime part of the banking scams that are happening right now?
Do not share your personal details with anybody. It's dangerous. I recently had a friend call me who said that, he received 5,000 rupees on his Paytm account and he didn't know where he got the amount from. So somebody called him and said कि भैया मुझे 5,000 रुपए मिल गए, but मैंने by mistake आपके account में डाल दिया. Can you retransfer it back to me? So he thought कि हाँ ये तो पैसे मुझे नहीं, तो I'll retransfer it back. And then he shared a link and he clicked on the link and his details were compromised. So when something like this happens, something that must be noted is that immediately do two things. One is lodge a complaint with the cybercrime authority. So there is a website you can do it on. So you can just log into www.cybercrime.gov.in or you can call on their helpline number 1930, I think, and lodge your complaint. Do that immediately. The second thing that everybody must do is complain to your bank, write a formal complaint to your bank and freeze all your bank accounts, or change that debit card
so that further deductions
won't happen. One, and secondly, the bank can track who was the beneficiary, and the bank can freeze that account to whom the money had gotten transferred. So that way, if you have acted on time, the bank will also act on time and freeze those accounts to which the money had gotten transferred erroneously. So very important to lodge your complaints immediately.
So guys, please take note. These are very two important points which need to be kept in mind if you have become a victim of a cyber fraud recently. So I would like to share this story. मेरे साथ एक हफ्ते पहले हुआ था. I got a call saying that some parcel has been sent under my name from Mumbai to Iran.
To Iran?
Yeah. And उसमें कुछ 2 passports थे, 2 debit card था, and there was some 25 grams of illegal drugs. And if I want to remove my name from it, then they are transferring my call to Mumbai Cybercrime, and I can just talk to them and pay some money and get my name removed from the entire thing. And thankfully, like, I could talk to people in my office because I got scared कि क्या call आ रहा है नहीं आ रहा है.
But it's always better to report such incidences and make a official complaint so that it's on record,
Yeah, and like whenever I asked that person for his ID, तो वो गाली देने लग गया और phone रख दिया.
Oh my God, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, and
yeah, so I mean, everybody has been facing some sort of issue or the other. I think the movie also that came up in Netflix, I think Jamtara, I don't know if you've seen that series or movie, whatever it was, but yeah, people are making these calls, fraudulent calls.
Yeah, and it was pretty scary for me. So thanks for mentioning all that. So Khushi, now that you have a child, have you thought about succession planning? Because most of the clients that I talk to, they start thinking about it once they've had a next generation in picture. So what, according to you, is the right time to think about making a will?
So Nidhi, you've asked a very relevant question, and what people tend to ignore that is that will and succession planning is equally a part of a financial planning of any person.
Yeah.
So there is no age as such to do financial planning, but with respect to will and succession. But of course, you can make a will only once you are 21 years old and are of a sound mind. So these are the two categorizations that you have to adhere to. Apart from that, once you have acquired assets in your name, that is when you start doing your will planning. Because you need to have assets so that you can devolve it upon your generation. So I'll just take 2 minutes of your time to just let you know how important it is. So there are 2 kinds of succession which normally happens, Nidhi. One is a testamentary succession, which is through a will. Will is nothing but something that you make into a document. So the person who has all the properties is called a testator, and he lists down, he or she lists down all his assets in a specific schedule, which comes out in the will, and appoints a person called an executor, who basically takes care of managing the property once the person has deceased. So managing the property in the sense distributing the property in terms of the will. And then the will gets signed by 2 witnesses. That is a basic. So will is basically your planning once you have deceased. So what will happen to your assets? Who will your assets go to? So what is extremely important to be noted here is that when you're making the schedule of assets in your will, make it as specific as possible. Put in your bank account numbers, put in the details of your shares, put in the details of your immovable, movable properties, so that once the property devolves, there is no confusion about it. Now, see, life is very uncertain, and with Corona, I think all of us have seen that anything can happen at any age. So पहले बोलते थे ना कि हाँ deathbed पे बच्चे अपने parents से will sign करा रहे हैं and all of those things. I think that is not relevant in today's time. We as a generation are more aware also. So there is no age for it. I think once you have acquired assets, and it's very easy, no? So maybe I've made a will today, I can change it after 2 years.
Okay.
So it's not a document in a public domain. It will only be a document in a public domain once it is actually being acted upon.
Okay.
So you can keep cancelling and revoking your deeds, wills, and making them again. But it is important from a financial planning perspective. Now, as compared to this, if you've not made a will, then your property gets transferred by way of something called an intestate succession. Now, interstate succession, ये सब legal words सुनने से लोगों को बहुत हिचकिचाहट होती है, and it sounds complicated, but it's not. Interstate.
Yeah, I got scared when you just said.
That's where we come in, that's where we are earning all our fees and all of those things. So, in an interstate succession, what happens is your property devolves by way of certain statutes. Now, if you're a Hindu, then it gets devolved by way of the Hindu Succession Act. So, if you've not made a will and you have a lot of assets in your name, now it will get distributed in the rank of priority given in that statute. Now, suppose you are a male, first the property will devolve upon your mother, your wife, and your children.
Okay.
Only then, once in case there is no one in that slab, then it will go to your father and other legal heirs.
Okay.
Now, if you are a female, then it will first go to your husband and your children.
Understood.
If there is no one in that category, then it will go to your husband's mother and father.
Wow.
And only then it will go to your own parents. So all the more important for females to do their financial planning if they need to do it so. Now, something very interesting, Nidhi. Now, earlier, as per the Hindu Succession Act, and I'm saying pre-2005, when a male deceased, if it was an interstate succession, the property would have devolved upon his mother, his wife, and his son. Married daughters were not part of it.
What are you saying?
Yes. So it's only as recent as in 2005 that daughters or women were given equal rights as a son.
Wow.
So it's, law is also, like I said, law is evolving. So in order to be sure and in order to avoid such ambiguities at a later stage, it is always preferable to have a will so that there are no disputes, there are no quarrels post your demise, and everything is in order. So everything is planned.
Yeah, and you don't end up transferring your assets to your mother-in-law. If I'm stereotyping here, but
that's actually stereotyping completely.
Yes.
So there are good mother-in-laws also, but you may want to transfer it to them. Yes, on a lighter note.
Yeah, and so in case of a divorce, say I am not getting along with my husband, and worst case scenario, so since prenups, if I am right, it's not allowed in India.
Correct, you're absolutely right. It's not recognized in India right now.
So is there an alternate way to protect your assets in case of a marriage?
Yeah, so there is something interesting that, I have been seeing in my practice for a few years now, is that nowadays if the person, maybe the husband or the wife, has assets, and they're getting into a marriage where they are unsure how long the marriage will last, and because there is no concept of prenuptial agreements in India currently, what they do is that they make a trust, a private trust, and they appoint beneficiaries and trustees, and it's like all the properties are managed by the trust. So that way it doesn't devolve upon by the regular succession laws. So that is a way you can undertake to plan your finances.
Okay. So, like a private trust is a completely separate
entity. Separate entity, and it will not form part of your individual succession or individual assets.
Oh, nice. And I had one question from the earlier thing that you mentioned, that you said there is supposed to be an executor of the will.
Correct.
So who can you appoint as the executor?
Yeah. So the person who is executing the will, who is the testator, can appoint anybody as the executor. It can be a close family member, it can be a friend I trust on. So it is anybody who you trust on with your properties and who will transfer the properties in the manner that is provided in the will.
Okay.
But let me just give you, a snippet of legal knowledge here. even if you've had a will,
Haan.
even if you have a will in place, there is one more requirement that you need to fill, that the executor may require you to fill once the person has demised. So in certain states, like in West Bengal or maybe in Chennai and Bombay also, you have to get your will probated.
Okay.
So now what does a probate will mean? It means that you will have to go to the court, show the will. The court will have a procedure where they will have a newspaper publication asking for people in case they have any objection to this will, because you will see situations where there is a massive asset base and there are 2-3 wills which are produced. So there may be a dispute on the authenticity of the will also. So by a probate, the government, the court reviews the will and then publishes a newspaper publication calling for any objections. And if there are no objections, the court certifies it.
Okay.
Or gives its stamp on it, so that anybody else can act on it. So there, just like probate wills, certain states give succession certificates or they give letters of administration. So these are documents basis which if you have a lot of money lying in your bank accounts, so you will have to produce these documents before a bank to get the money released also.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a long process, but of course, like you rightly pointed out, will is a very important part of your financial planning.
Yeah, and people don't want to talk about it because they are reminded of death. But I think we have to be practical.
Of course.
In these scenarios.
I think our generation is pretty practical, and we are doing well as a generation also, and we are more aware. So this is a trend that is normally coming up. What I see in my practice also, that nowadays people are more aware of their rights, and they are making their wills so that there is no dispute at a later stage.
No, that is good to know. And I had this very weird question, but I had read somewhere that you should put in your email IDs and phone numbers also to someone because you get all your OTPs.
Of course. I mean, your phone password is your asset.
Yeah.
You would have money lying in your Paytm wallet, or you may be having so many apps which are password protected. So yes, I mean, that's a great input actually.
Okay. Yeah, good to know that. And so tell us something that how do you do your financial planning and get the knowledge from?
So, Nidhi, in this respect, I have been kind of lucky, So I have always been, surrounded with so many big books on acts and legislation. So that's been keeping me busy.
Yeah.
I have very limited financial knowledge, and all my financial knowledge, I trust my brother and my bhabhi, who are both in wealth advisory. My brother is into debt market, bhabhi is into equity market. So, whatever they tell me, I do a little bit of it. But, just to give you a brief, and you can tell me if I'm on the right path or not. So a certain percentage of my savings, I would contribute it to the debt market in the form of PF or something. Then a certain portion of it would be in annuity planning, so that I know that after a certain age, even if I plan to retire, I'm getting a certain fixed income every month. And the remaining, I like to take risks in equity market.
Okay.
So that's a basic planning I have done.
No. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Such a balanced approach, and at least knowing where your money is going. Because sometimes what happens is that people rely on their family and relatives and they don't actually know where their money is going. So I think even if you take advice from people, it is very important to educate yourself also.
Of course, I think that's basic that everybody should know. They should know what they're doing with their money.
Yeah, and also because once you have a kid, you have to manage your expenses even more and plan for the future also.
Of course, absolutely. But it may sound cliche, but I always thought of one thing that I don't want to make a future for my child, Nidhi. I want to make my child for the future. So I just want to do enough financial planning so that his education is secure.
Okay, yeah.
And something very basic that I thought about is, that, in Madu families, that once a child is born, you are loaded with gifts from everywhere, okay, in terms of cash and money. So the first thing that my husband and I did was to open a bank account in his name. So whatever money we got, we kept transferring it, and we still do it. So that anyways became a huge kitty.
Nice.
And then we just decided that, currently we just kept it in a fixed deposit, but we are planning to, transfer it to, a demat account or so. We are just figuring it out. But, that basic thing we did so that kitty was created without us having to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, yeah, it is a very prudent decision. I always tell people who are getting married also कि तुमको लिफाफा आ रहा है, so you please put that into a bank account and invest it somewhere. So my friends have actually thanked me 4-5 years down the line.
yeah, of course. I mean,
Because,
क्योंकि उस time you don't realize, okay, and then if you would have put it in a bank account and if you would have done some investments with it, it becomes a huge kitty of money.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's a great advice. I mean,
Yeah, because I feel that having some savings just makes you more confident and stress free.
of course, it's
हाँ.
just a more secure form of living,
Like आज even like you want the best for your child, so you feel much more happier that you can give that to your child.
Of
no
course,
matter
of
what.
course. So yeah, that little bit of planning, that basic minimum, I think we should all do it for ourselves, for our children, so that we are just more aware of our, assets, and we just are more prepared for the future.
And like you rightly mentioned कि you will cover till the education, okay? Because sometimes I feel कि वो बच्चे पे इतना planning कर देते हैं कि खुद का retirement का भूल जाते हैं.
नहीं, बिल्कुल खुद का retirement नहीं, खुद की everyday जिंदगी के बारे में भी सोचना चाहिए. So as important as savings may be, but it's important to have a good life, enjoy each day also.
Yeah.
So totally believe in that.
Yeah, very true. And now before we wrap up, I want you to give few tips to the Gen Z out there who maybe are considering various career options, and if they want to get into law, how can they decide on it?
So, few things I must first tell you that, see, nowadays Gen Z is anyways, they're an aware group. And
Yeah.
see, they get a lot of bashing on social media, but one of my seniors once told me, and I kind of agree with him, and he told me that, Gen Z से एक चीज तो सीखना चाहिए, work-life balance. They know when to shut down their laptops, which we don't know as a generation.
Yeah.
We can work, for nights all together, and we don't know how to draw a balance. But Gen Z does know, and this is something that we all should learn from them. That said, I think the only advice or, the only thing that I can tell them is that if you love to do something, if you have a passion to do something, just stick to it. Because, then work doesn't become a stress. Work becomes enjoyment in every day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And if just know your skills. So if you want to be a lawyer and, if you feel that you have the skills for it, so you have to be a good orator, you have to have good writing skills, you have to love reading, because you need to read every day. And if you are, somebody who's outspoken, somebody who stands up for their rights or somebody else's rights around them, so know that you have the qualities for it. And if you have the requisite qualities, just go for it.
Wow. That is actually great advice. And I also feel Gen Z has this pressure to achieve very early in life. Ki I should be like popular or successful by 21, 22, 23. And I think it is okay for them to know कि even if you don't have life sorted by 21, सब सही होगा.
बिल्कुल, you're right. I mean, everything falls into place.
Yeah.
एक साल आगे, एक साल पीछे, but like just relax, go with the flow. Things will fall into place.
And because you rightly mentioned the writing and reading bit, because I've seen you in college write long documents and then call me Nidhi document उड़ गया है.
Oh yes. And sometimes I still face it. You know how I am, because I'm a little technologically challenged. I'm working on it. So I still, I would have worked on a document and I've forgotten to save it, and then I'm all over the place, that I've already worked on it. What am I going to do? But yes, with AI and with so many new technological advancements, it's become easier.
Yes.
Must tell you that.
Yes. But it was so great to have you here with us today. And I learned so much about dealing with cybercrime and proper financial will planning, and how inspiring you have been as a person.
Please.
Listen, honestly, because you've been managing a lot of things and taking care of yourself. So I think people listening to you would also understand that कर सकते हैं. थोड़ा difficult है, but कर सकते हैं.
If you love something, you can do it. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Also.
Now, before we wind up, I have this small hamper for you from Invest My Paisa.
Thank you, Nidhi. This is so sweet of you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking out time. So friends, if you have liked this episode और अगर आपने कुछ सीखा हो तो नीचे लाइक बटन दबाएं, अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करें और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें क्योंकि और भी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एपिसोड्स आने वाले हैं. अगर आपका कुछ और क्वेश्चन है, if you have any doubts which needs clearing, please write it in the comments below and we'll get them answered as much as possible from Khushi. Please don't forget to follow Khushi Poddar on LinkedIn. You can find the link in the description below. Also, last, we are also available on Spotify now, so आप घूमते फिरते कहीं पे भी इस पॉडकास्ट को आराम से एंजॉय कर सकते हैं. Thank you.